My sister, my twin sister, is going to be picking out the books we're going to read in this video. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lainey. Thank you for stopping by my little corner of the internet. And today I have a very exciting video. One, we're reading again, which that's what this channel is built on, and it's always just a little like, we're reading again, because I've been doing so many non-related reading videos, but hopefully, especially with the summer coming up, we can get a little bit back on track. We shall see. And two, it's a little bit special because my sister, my twin sister, is going to be picking out the books we're going to read in this video. So that is really exciting. Let her pick out books that I can read for at least 2 to 3 weeks for the rest of this month. So with that said, let's head over to the book collection and let's let her pick out my reads for this video. I'm assuming lit fic, coming of age, sci-fi, and fantasy boarding school. Right, we are back. And like you saw, she picked out the books for this video. Let's go through these one by one so we kind of have a good understanding about what we're going to read for this video. But she picked out 2 books physically from the collection, and then 2 books she used Fable by just swiping with her eyes closed and randomly selecting something. So yeah, let's get into it. So first off, we have Caminar. This one reads in the back, Guatemala, 1981. Carlos knows it's time to be a man and defend his village, keep everyone safe. But Mama says not yet. He's still her quiet moon-faced boy. So she tells him to run, hide, and then find her. With a decades-long civil war simmering around him, Carlos joins a small band of guerrillas as they race up a mountain to warn the village perched at the top. The village where Carlos' abuela lives, of the soldiers behind them. Flipping through the book here, it looks like it's like done in like passages, maybe poems. It looks like stanzas here. So this should be a quick read. The second book that we have here is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. This is the inspiration for the Blade Runner films. By 2021, the world war has killed millions, driving entire species into extinction and sending mankind off planet. Those who remain covet any living creature, and for people who can't afford one, companies build incredibly realistic I really have to search for pronunciations here. Those who remain covet any living creatures, and for people who can't afford one, companies build incredibly realistic simulacra, horses, birds, cats, sheep. They've even built humans. Immigrants to Mars receive androids so sophisticated they are indistinguishable from true men or women. Fearful of the havoc these artificial humans can wreak, the government bans them from Earth. Driven into hiding, unauthorized androids live among human beings undetected. Rick Deckard, an official sanctioned bounty hunter, is commissioned to find rogue androids and retire them. But when cornered, androids fight back with lethal force. Then we got some 2 heavy hitters. I really like the mix of genres that we have going on here. But anyways, so we have Fantasy Boarding School. This one, and I feel like I'm going so long in these descriptions, let's speed this up. This one reads, Dusty Everhart might be able to predict the future through the dreams of her crush Eli Booker, but that doesn't make her life even remotely easy. When one of her mermaid friends is vicious assaulted and left for dead, and the school's jokester Lance Rathborn is accused of a crime, Dusty is as shocked as everybody else. Lance needs Dusty to prove his innocence by finding the real attacker, but that's easier asked than done. Eli's dreams are no help, more nightmares than prophecies. To make matters worse, Dusty's ex-boyfriend has been acquitted of conspiracy and is now back at school, reminding Dusty of why she fell for him in the first place. The Magi Senate needs Dusty to get close to him to discover his real motives, but this orders infuriates Eli, who has started his own campaign for Dusty's heart. As Dusty takes on both cases, she begins to suspect they're connected to something bigger, and there's something very wrong with Eli's dreams, signs that point to a darker plot than they could have ever imagined. Fantasy, boarding school, murder mystery, love triangle, or at least two lovers pining for the main character girl's heart. And then the last book that we have here, No Dust Jacket. I got this at the Free Little Library, but this is just titled X by Sue Grafton. X is the 24th novel in Sue Grafton's Alphabet series, featuring private investigator Kinsey Milhone, and is considered one of her darkest and most chilling books. Published in 2015, the plot follows Kinsey as she investigates a sociopathic serial killer who leaves no trace, while also getting involved in other mysteries, including helping a friend with an IRS audit and searching for a client's long-lost son. The novel explores themes of unknown quantities, mistakes, and the danger of a killer who operates without leaving evidence, putting Kinsley in peril. And I think we have 2 female main characters, 2 male main characters. So I'm really liking our selection here. So really good job to my sister for that. And I'm excited, 1, to be reading, but 2, I think because this is part of a challenge, it's going to motivate me more to read and really try to finish this by the end of this month. So today is day 1, May 12th. We're going to pick a book to read. We're going to start reading for the little time that I have before I have to get ready for work. And I'll update you on that progress, and we're going to see how far we get. Okay, there's that. All right, let's start reading. So I'm on page 12 now. I think I'm gonna read this book as I think this is gonna be my break book. So in terms of if I want to take a break but I still want to read, then this is what I'm gonna do, because it's very quick. But the central gist is that we have this boy, and he's talking about in one of on page 5, this titled Not Yet, he says, I was strong enough to break the wood into small pieces and feed our fire. I kept our stovetop warm, but Mama would not send me out to cut a tree. Not yet, she said, and put away the blade. I was old enough to feed the chickens, gather eggs by myself, and watched out for them all, but Mama would not let me wring their necks. Not yet, she said, and wiped her brows. Feathers stuck to her arm with blood. So we kind of have this kind of repeating oh, I could do this, I'm capable of this, but my mom is saying not yet. At one point he talks about how he was playing with his friends, and he realized that it was his mom wanted him home, so he says bye and stuff, and the other kids are making fun of him and saying that he has his bedtime, that he's afraid of the dark. And he says, my cheeks burned, my neck itched, I tucked my chin down into my chest, my shoulders pointed towards my feet, which pointed at home. Then we get to the soldiers are setting up camp at his town, his village, his area. And they kind of talk about, we'll give you money if you give us names to communists. And he's saying I don't know what that word is, never heard about it, and to them. And he talks about how there was a man who was found hanged from a tree. And is this understanding, it said that it was a man, Juan Chok Tok, dangling from a tree. A sign was hung from the rope around his neck, communist. I heard the soldiers packing up their things, laughing. Para que escarmenten, they will learn a lesson. Sorry if I butchered that. I watched the men from my village cut the rope, lower his body. Stiff, carry it back to town. I heard them talking about Juan Chok Tok. They were not calling him a communist. Instead, they spoke of land he owned, land others wanted, land no one could afford, unless they earned a few quetzales selling names to the army. So that means that they earned money from the soldiers by lying and saying that that Juan guy was a communist, which he wasn't. They just wanted what he owned. And they can only get that by getting the money from the soldiers and by naming Juan as a communist. And then they ended up killing Juan. All right, let me take a pause. I don't even know what time it is, but I might be able to read for about 10 or so more minutes. So I think I want to start another book, and that be like the main book I bring with me to like work. And then, like I said, that will be my break book. I was watching like art video studio vlogs, book organizations and stuff like that, but now that we're reading, we gotta switch it up for the rest of the time. All right, we have our video, we have our water, and we got a book. Let's start reading. Hello, I think it's been a minute since I last talked to you guys, well over a week, maybe it's been coming up on 2 weeks. So I started this with about 3 weeks, maybe 3 weeks and a little bit left of the month, and I think we're in our last like 8 to 10ish days, so basically our last week, a week and a half, and the progress has not been incredibly great for given that I had 3 weeks, but knowing that I did this video in the first place, I wanted to do this little challenge in the first place, given that I've been reading a lot slower. It's kind of given that it's not been going as smoothly as possible. Anyways, in Kaminar, I am on page 131. I'm nearly done. This is how much I read, and then this is how much I have left. And then in The Nightmare Dilemma, I'm on page like 130 something, 140 something. We're going to be reading today. I don't know how long, at least for the morning. It's like 10:30 something, 10:46 right now. I'm doing some laundry, so I'm doing 2 loads of laundry because everything couldn't fit the first time around. So at least until I'm finished the second load, that's when I will give myself to stop reading. At some point I'm gonna go eat breakfast, so there's gonna be a pause in there as well. I'm in this mood of being like cozy and stuff, and like I've been doing a lot of like no social media, lessening my amount on social media, but doing a lot of crafts, working in my sketchbook. So I'm kind of in this mindset of not really itching for my phone as much. So I think I'm gonna be okay with that. It's not perfect, but it's getting there. So we're gonna continue reading. We're gonna see what's up. So I finished Kaminar by Skylar Brown. I found out this is a debut novel, which I was surprised about. I think it's really well written. This is in verses. I think I've been saying like passages, stanzas. This is verses, like free verse poetry. This is also a children's book. I think it's very palatable for a children's audience. Obviously, it touches heavy topics in terms of like the Civil War, mass killing, genocide, and things of that sort. and obviously like surviving all of that as a child. But I think that it's not like heavily graphic in any way. Obviously, through like what is being written, it's a lot of imagery going on, but like nothing is described in like horrific detail that I think that this is something that like a kid should never read. So I think there's points for that here. I think I'm just gonna give for each of the books a rating at the moment, and if it changes I can obviously reflect that through editing. I think I'm gonna give Kaminar, I don't know, I think when I take into account like my reading speed, given that like this is definitely a book you can read in like 2 hours or less. I read it across a couple of days, given that one, I was also reading Nightmare Dilemma, but also two, I just was not reading a lot at all. I think I'm gonna give this a 3.75. I was gonna say a 3.5, but I think a 3.75 is where I'm gonna give this book. But that's good. My first laundry load is done. I am going to take that out and start my next load, and then we're gonna start our next book. The Nightmare Dilemma. I am, the fact that you can zoom in or zoom out with the text of a book will determine like, will change the number of like how many pages you have left. So I was able to get it down as close as I possibly can so it can match the book. The book is 380. I got it down to 388. I'm on page 169 currently right now. Aim to get to 50% before I even think of like getting up and then maybe like not wanting to read anymore. And then hopefully by Friday I could try to aim to completely finish the book, but we'll see. Oh, well, he knows that she's been asked to watch him. In regards to Paul, because I did not spend time with him in the first book, because I was not like betrayed by him in the first book, I feel like compared to Dusty or like compared to reading her POV in regards to Paul being changed, I feel like it's going to take me less time to accept that change, and knowing in my head like, oh, maybe he did change, maybe he is like now a good guy. Obviously like Dusty got betrayed, so him just saying that is not gonna be enough for her. And objectively, like me just reading that and him being like, oh, I've changed, or like, through through how he's written, is gonna take more than just like taking that at face value. But because I did not spend time with him, I did not go through this whole betrayal, it's definitely easier for me to be like, okay, this guy has changed, and then getting like one or two instances or seeing one or two examples of that change and kind of sticking with it. But like I said, that doesn't mean because I might be more easily swayed or more easily believed that Paul changed, does that make me, in regards to them kind of being her true love interest, more team Paul than Eli. I'm right now team neither. So that's what I wanted to say. I'm looking so crazy, but 50% of the way through, I'm on chapter 19. We're getting some answers, but also we're not getting answers. It's like, it's slowly like questionings are happening, and it's kind of one of those where it's like, tell us, and you're like, it's, and then XYZ, and then when you're like so close, and then it like kind of cuts off, and then you have to like obviously flip to the next page. I was gonna stop here because it's like 6:37. I'm gonna go and eat something, lunch, dinner. It's a little late for lunch, but I don't even have breakfast in me, so I'm gonna go eat. And I was just gonna like probably watch some TikToks while I eat. I don't know, we'll see. But based on how chapter 18 ended, I'm just kind of like, ah. Also, I was gonna stop here because I'm at the 50% mark, because I wanted to game tonight, but it might still throw in another like 2 hours, 1.5 hours, get to like 8:30, and then just cut my gaming short because I want to go to bed by 9:30, 10. So we'll see, because this is getting interesting. So 50% mark. Actually, I'm gonna eat and read, because yeah, I'm gonna eat and read. I finished this last night. I'm already on the third book for this video, and you'll see that after. This was Mermaid gets attacked, and our main character Dusty has the abilities to go into dreams. So she goes into the dreams, she sees some things to kind of figure out like who the attacker is, why, like figure out this information. She's tasked upon, like that task is put upon her to do that. She tries her best. She sees some faces, and there's some faces of people that she knows. So one is her ex-boyfriend Paul from the first book, and then the other face is her best friend who she's having something romantic going on with, but like not entirely, but you know, some like she has feelings for him, and he has feelings for her in some way, but they haven't acted upon that, I guess, more than what happened in the first book, which from context clues for this, for what was restated in this book, was that they had a kiss and then nothing else from there, right? And this is all in the beginning of the book. Dusty, Eli, the best friend, and Dusty's other friend, who's also her roommate Celine, she's a siren. Oh, Eli in this book is an ordinary, like he's a human. What I've gathered also from this, just using context clues, is that Dusty is half nightmare. That's like what her species is. Her dad is human, so her dad is an ordinary, and then she's half. So Eli is an ordinary, and because of this like dream connection, or because he's like a dream seer or something connected with Dusty and her abilities, he is allowed to be at the school. But Eli, Dusty, Celine have, there's something called a dream team. They have like a little investigation squad going on. And in the second book, they're solving Brittany's, who's a mermaid, her attack. On top of that, Dusty, because her ex-boyfriend Paul, who had some acquaintance, not some, but he was acquainted with the villain of the first book, who's also like this overarching villain of just like the world in general. But because he had acquaintance to the villain in the first book, like I said, context clues, he is back. He was in jail for a little bit. Now he's back at the academy. And Dusty, on top of like figuring out what happened to Brittany, is also tasked to kind of like spy on Paul, because they think that like Paul being back at the academy is not a good idea, and they kind of want to understand why he was allowed to even come back to the academy if he's still secretly working for the villain. Like I said multiple times in this video, I have not read the first book. Did not know this was even part of a series when I first started to read it. And I'm gonna say that I do really like this. I am probably within next 2 or 3 months gonna read the third book. I want to finish it as soon as possible, as early as possible, because I don't want to wait too long. I really like this world. It's not, I was a little confused because obviously I didn't read the first book, but I think what was said and then figuring out everything else through context clues was enough for me to still like the book. Like I wasn't confused, or I wasn't like, I didn't feel like the book was hard to get into despite me not reading the first book. In terms of like the relationships set in this book, I do like Paul's character. I like that, yeah, he did something bad, but like the book doesn't let you forget it. The characters in this book doesn't let you forget it. Paul himself doesn't easily like brush what he did aside. There is like remorse and regret in regards to what he did, and I think that that is a good way to, you know, if I had read the first book, but that's a good way to have this character who started off good, did bad, and instead of just like automatically making him good again, or automatically like letting that suspicion of him being bad like be accurate, there is some development towards his character, and he's not gonna like I say, he's not gonna automatically be good, but you see that like that transition, you see that, you know, he's trying his best, and that's really all you can ask for in terms of like, you know, re-liking this character again. If you had read the first book, re-liking this character again that had betrayed Dusty, betrayed you as a reader. What else can I say about this? I like the world. I really like the power system in regards to like there's some interesting powers and abilities. Sirens being able to fly, nightmares being able to like go into dreams. I like the relationship between all the characters. I like that the characters had, even like the good characters, quote unquote good characters, like that they had a little bit of suspicion because like they were moving a little bit weird, like Celine has something going on, but by the end of the book like all of that gets brought to light. And I like that it's like, it's not something horrible, like it's personable to them. We find out who attacks the mermaid at the end of the book. There is like a big plot that they thwart at the end of the book as well. And yeah, like I said, I really liked it. I'm definitely gonna give this 4 stars and up. Now we can move on to our last read for this video. Oh my gosh. Hello. It is currently 8:36. It's May 30th. Last night I finished The Nightmare Dilemma. I think I gave it I think I'm giving it a 4.25. I just filmed a TikTok about how many pages can I read in an hour, and so I read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I got to the end of chapter 3 with that TikTok for an hour, read 31 pages. Chapter 4 starts on page 34. Chapter 1 started on like page 3. So yeah, I read 31 pages. Now I'm continuing the book because this challenge ends tomorrow and there's 224 pages, and at the very least I have 4 books that my sister picked for me. I would like to finish 3, so obviously this is the next best option for me to do in a reasonable manner between today and tomorrow. Yeah, I have this on Libby, and the whole time I thought I had the audiobook on Libby, but I actually have the ebook on Libby, which is good because it's getting dark and I have the flashlight on, but I actually want to turn that off so I can read on my e-reader with no problem. But yeah, I don't have the audiobook, and I actually kind of wanted the audiobook now that I'm thinking about it, so I can really get through these pages, because it took me like, I only read like 30 pages in an hour, and tomorrow I have a lot to do. So I'm like, am I gonna have like a lot of time to really finish up this book? We're gonna see. But anyways, that's where I'm currently at right now. I'm at the beginning of chapter 4. I do have to like reread pages because I'm getting a little lost because I'm reading it and it's really going out the other ear. But I'm recognizing that fact, and I'm like backtracking and rereading again instead of just like breezing through this book. Yeah, can't really give too much thoughts yet. I at least want to hit chapter 10 before I say anything. But yeah, we're just gonna continue reading. I'm actually gonna read for another like 20 minutes. It's about to hit 8:40, and then I'm gonna go figure out what to eat for dinner, and then hopefully continue reading.
Around so that Rick can see. Max Polikoff. Brian said, that's what it calls itself anyhow. Assuming Dave was right. It was while Dave was administering the test. That's when Polikoff lasered him. Which proves that Dave was right. Rick said, you get started for Seattle. Brian said.
That was only a dream.
My Tomodachi, I'm playing Tomodachi. I got it a couple days ago. I'm on chapter 13 of the book. I don't know what page I'm on. I managed to find on YouTube someone has like an animated audiobook for the book, and I'm putting that on 2x speed.
It must be a delusion. She must be psychotic with delusions of persecution, maybe from brain damage due to the dust. Maybe.
There we go. Let me go find the page it actually is. I was reading and listening to it in the beginning, and then I stopped a little bit, went to go eat, just listened to it, then I came back and I was tandem reading with the audio, and then I stopped like a couple pages into chapter 12, like 3 or 4 pages into chapter 12, because I was like, oh, this is the perfect time to start making some more memes for my Tomodachi Life Island, and I can just continue and let that play for a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to entirely finish it. I'm at 3 hours and 39 minutes out of 6 hours and 10 minutes. So like I said, I don't know if I'm going to finish it before bed. It's like 10:10 now. I've been listening to this for the past 59 minutes. So we'll see, but maybe actually, because we got like, I think at this point, less than 100 pages left. So I might just finish it before bed. But let me see if I can find what page we are on. So I'm on chapter 13, page 137. A little bit about the book so far. So, what I've gathered. Alright, so we have Rick Deckard. He's a bounty hunter. First of all, in this world, a lot of humans have died, and they're like artificial or like android pets, right? And there's very few living pets situation, right? Like that's kind of like the type of world that we're living in, with very few humans, very few animals. And on Earth specifically, androids are illegal, but there are some androids who are living amongst humans. There are some androids who know that they're androids, and then there's some androids who were pre-programmed with human memories and I guess like specific type of emotions and personality types, or whatever the case is, so they don't know that they're androids. And Rick Deckard, he is a bounty hunter. He works for the police department, and he essentially has to find these androids and retire them. So we kind of go through him having this list that he's following, trying to find these androids. There's like a specific test that he uses and administrates when he comes across said potential androids, and then if they fail it, then he knows that they're androids. And they're like specific markers or specific ways to know, like based on the readings and stuff, to know like if they're an android or not. The part that I'm a little after this part, but one of the big parts that happened in the middle is he went after an android. She ended up calling the police, and the policeman didn't know who he was. He didn't know who the other person was. He has like a boss, and that other policeman didn't know who his boss was. He specifically said how he worked at a specific like precinct or building, and that other policeman was talking about like how that's been abandoned and how that hasn't been used as a police station and however long. And Rick didn't know the location that the other policeman was talking about, where the actual police station is at. So there was a little bit confusion, and at that point I was thinking that, and they were saying it too, like, oh, you claim that you're a bounty hunter, but could you be an android yourself? So that's kind of like what was going on. Things got figured out. I don't want to spoil anything, but we kind of learned about that little situation, about like how could there be two police stations, how could each policeman not know about the other. We understand and figure it all out, and now we're kind of picking back up with the whole retiring of androids for in the book. So that's where I'm at. Chapter 13, page 137. I'm going to continue and listen to the book as I play some Tomodachi Life. Then I don't know if I'm gonna stay up and finish, because I do want to go to bed within the hour. So we'll see. If I'm not done with the book, we'll pick it up tomorrow. But tomorrow will be our last day of reading. So we have that.
Actually, the female offers unbeatable advantages to the serious animal owner. Is this go to female? Hey, Hattie, this is a superb contender in this year's market, sir, and we're offering her at an attractive, unusually low price. Paper, the seldom scribbled price, and then, briefly, almost furtively, showed it to Rick. Too much, Rick said. He took and gripped the twin handles of the empathy box. As he stood gaping at them, the lights in the living room of his apartment plunged out. He could see, in the kitchen, Chris hurrying to catch the table lamp there. Listen, Joe. A note whispered harshly in his ear. She grabbed him by the shoulder, her nails digging into him with frantic intensity. She seemed unaware of what she did.